Brilliant. Thank you, Pablo. Second done? Second done. So, yes, as Pablo just said, this was my name. It was correct. My name is Aleix. And I'm going to talk to you about some KDE topics. Before going into the... I could hear Pablo better than myself. I am from Barcelona. I've been living in Berlin for a while though, because I've been working for Vision, which is a Mercedes subsidiary.
Do it.
Now it's better. And now I need to track this.
Oh, be careful.
It's beautiful. Oh, now I'm not looking at the camera. So I've been doing KDE stuff since forever. I started doing some applications, then I was hired to work on different plasma business and beyond. And then I was hired to do the Mercedes things while we're integrating a couple of KDE components. Actually, if we have some time at the end, yesterday there was the announcement of the first car that includes the KDE component. So if you want, we can take a look. It's a very flashy and like not free software friendly presentation. But well, if you know what's in there, that's what it counts, I guess. I've been part of the KDE board for quite a while. KDE being the association that is around the KDE community. So as a community, you can be a bunch of people and like this is what counts, but legally you're nothing. And if you want to take donations, you want to like pay for service and stuff, you need to have an association. And EV is a super long name of how they call it in Germany. And I am the president right now of this organization. If you have any questions about that, it's something we can talk about as well. Yeah. So. When we were talking about what I was going to do, Albert, who's not here, said, you're going to tell these people about whatever's going on with KDE for the last few years, because well, we have been doing this talk for a while. This is a group that actually, like a few of us from KDE started about 10 years back. So yeah, it's been an ongoing topic. So I will try to focus on the things that have happened over the last couple of years. If you have questions about whatever in the past, obviously it's something we can look into. But before going into like what is that we've been doing lately, well, what is KDE as a high-level definition? Well, like I was saying, KDE is a bunch of people. It's a bunch of people who create a number of products that we will be looking into right now. I'm saying products and not apps or anything like that because it has a wide range of shapes, so it's a bit hard to delineate. But in practice, it's developers, but also translators. We have I don't know, community managers, people doing the social media stuff, and all of that. So well, yeah, that's KDE. KDE is the people, and well, the product is what we create. Since, well, being people is not really very useful, we came up with a vision statement and a vision, a strategy, which is something that people who know about how to build an organization really suggest you to make. This is our vision statement, which says, a world in which everyone has control over their digital life and enjoys freedom and privacy. Well, this is effectively what we try to do. We try to make it possible for people to use their computers with all of their advantages without being hindered by the different business models that are surrounding us. We can see us being attacked, so to speak, by these different big blogs on our industry, and we try to provide solutions that are useful to everyone and that respect them. Unlike, others. Then, like I was saying, we create a good number of products. One of them is Plasma. Plasma is one of them that we're going to talk about today. Plasma also has its own vision, and here we're already talking about a specific product. Plasma would be, the thing that you use when you use KDE-based operating system. And all of those components, right? Like whatever starts the applications, the menus, the well, the most basic applications as well. And effectively, well, all of the workflow that you need to be able to like use a device that and be productive with it, at least to, well, according to our vision. And in this case, Plasma's vision is simple by default, powerful when needed. So we try to make it something that is accessible and usable for everyone. But we also try to, like, if you have higher, more advanced use cases, well, we try to accommodate to that as well. So when thinking about what we did since recently, I decided to cut a line on the KDE 6 release because that was a date like another. In KDE, we've been basing our software in something called Qt, which is a framework that is used across the industry in many, many places. It started being used in KDE. KDE actually started being developed by a Qt engineer. A Qt engineer actually, well, it's not that he was Qt himself, it's that he was working for, like, developing the Qt, the product. I tried to make a joke here. When I try to make a joke, it's nice when you laugh because I feel like you're all awake.
I laugh.
Good job. These big release numbers, we've been following those from Qt because, well, there's the ABI, there's technical complexities about switching versions, and going all at once is often useful. So in this case, Qt released Qt 6 maybe a couple of years back, and we started working on basing all of our products also on Qt 6. Well, not all of our products, but well, those that are based on Qt anyway, which is the most part. Since we needed to like do all of this switch at once, we had to change, well, not only Plasma, but also the applications. That's why we called it mega release. Otherwise, we have the Plasma releases, which happen independently, and then we have what we call the KDE Gear releases, KDE Gear being mostly applications. And, well, we also have some other products, which are like frameworks and tools for developers, but not something I'm going to focus on today very much. But effectively, well, what we are talking about here is the new things that we would see in Plasma 6. For example, here we can see the overview effect. Something that has been important for KDE in the last few years has been that we've been, Valve, which is a big American company, took interest in our products and has hired a bunch of people to work on it. I was even working on that myself for a while, and a good number of people are doing still. And this is, for example, one of the things that came from that project. This is the overview effect. I don't know if you saw earlier, I did the test. Like, this is what happens when you do like a 4-finger scroll on the system. So we're showing this. A lot of our focus also for the last few years, and if you've been following Linux, you will have seen this effort also elsewhere, has been on making it possible to make use of all of your hardware on Wayland systems, Wayland being the new way we have for applications to communicate with video hardware. And one of the big milestones there has been the support for HDR, HDR being very complex displays, and thus GPUs, and thus, well, the desktop environment, and then the application. Actually, I took deep into the problem that HDR is, and I can say that it's super complex. Like, well, it would take me weeks and weeks to like properly understand it, but also like it's something that you can see that it has a big advantage. I don't know if you've seen the monitors that have HDR support. It is quite the difference. In any case, this is something that was added in Plasma 6. We're talking also about wallpapers. We can see like a light one and a dark one. The panel is floating. Actually, maybe it's something we can see here if I make this. What? I need to make it a bit smaller. Good. See, it's floating, but when you maximize it, it's not floating anymore. Well, big feature. Yeah, talking for that, brilliant. And we've been working with the polls. Then here we were talking about making the applications a bit easier to the eye. In practice, a lot of the work that has happened in KDE for the last several years has been that, well, we've been polishing the UX overall. A lot of the features we have today, we already had maybe 10 to 15 years back, but well, they were not just as good as one would expect, and we've put a lot of effort into making sure that this is the case. Yeah. So this was the Plasma 6 release. Also, I've been talking a lot about laptops, obviously also desktop computers as well, but we have other UXs that we cater to. One of them would be mobile phones. You can also find one for TVs. And yes, and then the different applications that you can find. I actually would suggest you can go to apps.kdo.org. You will see the applications we have. Many of them might be useful to you, and if you are, I'm happy that you're happy, and if you're not, well then move on. That's fine. Itinerary, that's a pretty cool one. For example, this is a companion application for when you travel. It has Android builds as well as for Plasma Mobile, and it's a useful thing to use. You can also use it to like include your concert tickets and restaurant reservations and things like that. Yeah, cool stuff. We have education applications. We have KDE Live, which is a video editor. So that was our 6.0 release. Effectively here, what we were showing is that everything that was more or less possible and useful in the last Plasma 5 releases, or well, 5 everything releases was working. And, oh shit, I pressed it again. And you could just ship it to the next one. Now, if you want, we can take a look at the next sub-releases for Plasma, because like I said, how do I open all of them? So open selected links. Yep. Like I said, only it was the 6.0 that we did the mega release. Now we are back to what we used to do, which is doing Plasma releases on one schedule and applications releases on another one. They're both separate in around 4 to 5 months. So, but it's useful to not like change everything at once because yeah, it keeps the chaos to a minimum. So then what we've been doing has been not so much just polishing and making sure that things work, but again trying to further a bit the UX. This is one of the developments that have been interesting, I would say, which is remote access. So one difference that we have with how we do things in Wayland and how we used to do things in X11 is that on X11 you had to target just X11 for doing remote things. We had tons of tools, all of them were kind of crap, I would say, but they were there and they could be developed by third parties. From the Wayland perspective, we need to do it more or less everything from the project side. And well, this is KDE's and Plasma state to doing remote desktop. At the moment, this is using RDC, which is a Microsoft protocol. There can be others that can be implemented. I think that it also supports VNC. I'm not super sure on that though. We can see other polishing on the UX. Restart. This was a partnership with a hardware manufacturer about like being able to integrate the colors of the keyboard from the desktop environment, it make it possible to integrate. So this was also some work we did. Oh, the shake cursor is one that people quite like. Yeah, it's this one. One funny thing about this implementation is that it doesn't have a technical maximum, so you can like keep going. It doesn't explode, or at least it shouldn't. And then more work on the deep graphical stack. Like I said, one of our biggest partners would be Valve, who are people who really care about graphics performance in gaming. So there's a lot of improvements in that front. Actually, I don't know if you've seen, but there's the Valve Steam Deck, which is a console that you can buy from Valve, and if you enter the desktop mode there, you can use Plasma, much like we're using it right now here. So this, we were looking at 6.1, now we can look at 6.2. On 6.2, there was a big sprint on making it better to use the digital tablets. So if you're into that, you will be super happy. If you don't do drawing on your computer, you will be, well, impartial, I guess. But nevertheless, it's something important to do. There's a lot of digital artists who use our software, and actually they were complaining quite a bit about this aspect, and I understand that they're happier about this aspect as well right now. Also, they get now better HDR support and color management, which we can see here that was furthered. I never really understood this graphic, but it's trying to show you that colors look better on HDR with this one, with this version. There was improvements on power management, on updates, accessibility. Something that you might find interesting from how we do things in KDE is that we have something called the KDE goals. The KDE goals being different topics that we as a community decide to take an interest on, a specific interest on, and rally around it, right? And on the last round, we used to have the accessibility on one of those goals, and we would see a good improvement there. Now looking at 6.2, right? The 3. Well, 6.3. We can see, for example, we added new features like adding panels, the zoom, and more business with the tablets. We kept seeing things with the tablets because some people got a grant for working on these tablets, so also that's how that ended up happening. I was looking at this one and I thought that it was kind of useful to show why they found it useful. So, like the big improvement here is that we added the grid around the pixels. So when you zoom in, you can see like where a pixel starts and ends, which I guess can be useful if you're into this pixel art aspect of things. And then improvements, this is on the drawing tablets. What is it saying here? Monitoring, tools, blah, 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 visibility. But if you're into this one, you can take a look. And you can certainly find. Obviously, all of these are not just conclusive. These are the things that when we released the new version, we thought these are the important ones to take a look into. But effectively, most open source projects, that people will be working on the different things that they care about, and a lot of interesting features might not end up in the release notes because effectively there's not like a big top-down decision on what's important for the project. Many people can be caring about different things at different times. So if we look at the gear releases, we will see the improvements on apps. We call it KDE Gear, and we don't call it the KDE apps release, which actually it's something that we tried doing for a bit some time ago, because most of our applications are released within the Gear, but that doesn't mean that every application is released within the Gear. So it's just to say these are the ones, like it's what we call the bag we ship them in. But what kind of things we see here? We see a CD Ripper, if you're living in the last century, a tool for accessibility, because, like I said, it was or is an important topic for us, and at times it was hard to debug things. This is more of a debug tool than anything else. An application that will bother you if you're using your computer too much. This one I haven't seen, and it feels a bit weird, but it teaches you how to breathe. Yeah, we have games, we have... Dolphin is a very famous application, even Luis just said that he uses it. Go figure how amazing it is. But it's a file manager. If you don't know about it, I recommend you take a look. NeoChat, if you use Matrix, it's an interesting application to use. And if you don't use Matrix, well, consider using Matrix, because it's Europe, and it's nice. Yeah, I'm not sure that it's super useful to go through all of them. Something we've been doing also this year, this would be maybe more of a Plasma feature as well, but it does affect the different apps, is introducing the dark and light color switching. We used to have all of the different color schemes, but like the emphasis on like we're dark or we're light is somewhat new, and it's kind of useful because like things like web browsers will integrate with the setting, etc., etc. So this was 2405, meaning May 2024. If we go into summer, we can see, well, more of that, right? Like we see Dolphin doing more stuff. Firelight is also a nice application that if you don't know about, you might want to take a look. Firelight is an application. So when you see my hard disk is full, what do I do with, like, how do I free some space? You can open Firelight and it will tell you which are like the big directories that are using all of your space, and you can easily detect, okay, if I remove this directory that I don't really care about, I'm gonna free like 200 gigabytes. Because sometimes like you can end up saying, oh no, I have so many little files that are 2K, right? Like, this doesn't really make a big difference. So if you find yourself in that problem, you can use it. And by the way, this application is fairly popular on Windows as well for some reason. You can find it on the Windows Store. Several of the applications you can find on the Windows Store actually. Here we can see console added bookmarks, more KDE Live. If you're into video editing, KDE Live is something you might be interested in. I hear that it's really good. I know nothing about video creation, so I cannot vouch for it. But yeah, useful stuff. More itinerary, like I said. Yeah, this feature is kind of fun. So like I was mentioning earlier, itinerary is an application for like attending places like well, your flights, but also restaurant reservations or whatever. And you might want to be guided into there. So they added, well, they have OpenStreetMap integration for guiding you to the actual building. But then at times you will be in a humongous building and you need to like find yourself within the building. And they added support for indoor maps on I don't know if it's exactly on OpenStreetMap, but effectively it's something you can use from itinerary. And it's gonna work fine. We can see more NeoChat. And Falcon. Falcon in our browser. I used to always say, because I have this bad habit of being self-deprecating, that nobody uses Falcon. And then I realized recently that there's lots of people using Falcon, and even more right now because everybody hates on Americans and specifically on Mozilla. So yeah, there's that. If you want to use another web browser, you can try Falcon, and if it doesn't work, at least I can fix it for you, I guess.
Is it Chromium based?
It's Blink based, yes. Well, it's Qt Web Engine based, it's Blink based. But it doesn't send data to Google, so there's that. Like the biggest, I'm not going to talk about the Mozilla thing. If you want, give me a couple of years later and we can talk about Mozilla. So, more applications. We have Ocular signing. We have had good development on the signing and cryptographic aspect of things. One of our partners is the, I don't know if it's exactly called GPG Foundation, but it's the foundation that does GPG. And they have been, well, they have a bunch of contracts with different partners that they need features in the applications, and they have been adding the features into the applications and then shipping it to their partners. So there's a whole lot of that would otherwise go unnoticed because I guess it's not things that we normally use on a daily basis, even though we probably should, but yeah. So we see more of that. More KDE Live. Look, this is a plasma sprint from like when I had hair. See? K-Wave. All right. I'm not sure that, well, like I said, oh, look at that. That's KDE Connect. KDE Connect is something that he's creating.
Wow. It's very good.
Brilliant stuff. More itinerary. And yeah. So this has been more or less what has been up in KDE for the last maybe 3 years, 4 if you count the us like getting up to develop everything on Kit 6. And then I guess it's useful if we talk a little bit about what we're actually doing right now. Because in case you want, you are more than welcome to join the community and contribute whatever you want. We're very nice people. And so like we've seen, there hasn't been like a whole revamping of anything. What we try, or what we've been trying to do generally is to little by little be improving our product portfolio and making sure that people get what they need from our stuff, making sure that everything's polished, making sure that the users don't get lost. Something that we've been thinking about a lot, and I'm gonna get to that a bit later, is how can we make sure that like we can realistically tell like society you can use Linux as your operating system, you can use Free Software for all of your uses and purposes, and this is something that is very much on our mind. So if this is something you care about, this is something we can work on together. We've been working and we will continue working on Wayland. Actually, wanted to look at this wiki now. This wiki we used to call the Wayland showstoppers. We don't consider them showstoppers anymore. In fact, when you install Plasma, you will see that Wayland is the option that it gets started by default. You can still use the X11 version, but this is something that we know that is being phased out. And yeah. So I wanted to open it because you get to see a little bit what are the kind of issues that we see. Okay, this is still missing and we might want to work on it. So we can we know that, for example, the applications are not restoring their position, right? Like you shut down your computer, you open it again. Dolphin won't be exactly where it used to be the last time you started it, right? It's a detail, it's something important, possibly, but another one would be using key combination shortcuts to type phrases into Windows. It's not implemented. I don't know what that means, I'm sorry. There's the bug reports there. In any case, you can take a look at that if you have this. technical eye on the things, and you want to make sure that users have a good usable experience, it's something that you can look into. Working on the compositor is kind of nice that way, in that like you can work on an aspect that is fairly like not super apparent, but it has a very direct report with your experience, right? Another thing we keep working on is the different apps, and actually the different apps will have their own little plans, right? Like you can, for example, see the NeoChat team having their own vision and their own path forward, their own list of things that they really want to look into. The contact people, so like the PIM people, will have their own, etc., etc. A lot of where we're going is making sure, well, first, like I was saying earlier, to make sure that people can do everything that they need in this like age with tools we create, which is not nothing, because like the use cases have been increasingly demanding in this front, right? But we are trying to do that. Something that has been, I guess, interesting since last summer when we announced this project is what we call KDE Linux. KDE Linux is a project where we try to like put together an operating system based on Linux and our software, and obviously most of the components that you're normally familiar with. And what should it to users, make sure that we can actually provide a good user experience, which is something that we have struggled to do with different approaches in the past. I guess that if you want to talk about a little bit more about this, could be interesting, but I'm gonna defer that to the questions round. Because, yeah, something that is also interesting, and it's definitely related to what I was just mentioning, is the OEM experience and, in practice, onboarding. So, something we've been doing a lot in the Linux world is, so if you're a person who wants to use Linux, how do you do it, right? Like there's two main ways. You can buy a laptop with Linux by default, or you can like download a Linux image and hope that your laptop is going to support it, right? This is something that we are catering. Like, for example, we have hardware partners that ship our software with their devices, so we're trying to make sure that like, the experience that our users, or their users, their clients, are going to have is as good as possible, because in practice what can very easily happen is that if you not care enough about this like first like 10 minutes of your user's experience, you might lose them for eternity, right? And actually this is not something that us as Linux users or KDE users, if you want, suffer from as much as we should, right? Because we have it already installed, and like we don't need to like be welcomed into Plasma. We don't need to learn everything, because like it's been there for us for like decades or so. But like that's not the case for new users. So this is something that we've been looking into. The hardware partnerships are continuing. We're looking into how we're gonna like move those into KDE Linux, and then I mentioned here KDE Echo because through KDE Echo, we've been partnering with the German government, where we've been, we had a project, I don't know if you saw, with Blauer Engel, where we're looking into certifying software. We consider this project done. I mean, it's continuing in that like the certifications are there, and we are still in communication with different universities that are taking care of that. But now we're looking at this problem from another way around. And there's, for example, right now there's this campaign where Windows 10 is going out of support, which means, and like there's tons of laptops that were shipped with Windows 10 that cannot be used anymore. Not that because like you need to update, because like you cannot update, like Windows is gonna reject these laptops. So effectively these laptops have become trash. And what we're telling people is like, let's make sure that we can provide all of the people who have this kind of hardware safe space where they can continue using this hardware, which is otherwise perfectly valid, and continue using it without like having to, well, first buy a new hardware that they don't effectively need, and second, not create some like residue that they wouldn't need to otherwise. Yeah, right now we're hiring. We're still poor, but we still want to like make sure we're making the best of our money. If you're interested in doing some plasma work, you can look at this PDF. If you want, I can give you the URL later on. But yeah, as KDE, we do have like 4 or 5 people working on the products themselves, some other people also working with different aspects of the organization. So that's an opportunity to join them. So yeah, this was my presentation. I think it was a good half an hour. If you have some questions, you can ask them now. Oh.
Yeah, I have a question.
He started. Okay.
How many people are involved with KDE? Like developers, so overall ecosystem you are kind of aware of?
At least 3, right? No, I'm joking. It's hard to tell. It's hard to put a number in it. Like I've seen numbers extracted, like how many people contribute in a year, and then you get thousands, right? But then how many people do you have talking in the Plasma development chat right now? It's probably 1.5, right? So it depends a lot on how you want to measure these things.
Like say EV members.
EV members, we're probably 150. But then these are only the people who have decided that they want to like take part in the organization, which is like not something that is necessary. Like, and then also there, we like do retire the old ones who like don't participate. Like we do have mechanisms so that they stop being members, or at least active members, like we call it. So yeah, it's hard to tell. It also like changes a lot, these numbers. For example, if you like count for like just developers, because for example, if you look at Git, right, like you will get developers. But if you look at translators, if you look at I don't know, people doing promo stuff, well, it's like the numbers can vary a lot. I guess an easy way of looking at it would say in the low hundreds is probably fair.
Less than 1,000.
I would not say less, because like you probably, depending on how you count, you will get the 1,000, right? But at least a few hundreds, we can easily say that there.
To add on this, how German heavy is this? I got KDE, okay, KDE in German, when I used to use it like many years ago.
So the project started in southern Germany, and it also started in a moment where all of the industry was starting and creating, and it definitely had a big impact on that. Also in a moment where, internet was not as well developed as it is right now. But on the other hand, it has been an international project since the very beginning. Like some of the, not older contributors, but like the people who have been contributing for the longest time, I know some of them were in the US, in South America, and elsewhere. Like there was Antonio in Malaga from the like 0.beta thing, and that was probably like in the field first 2 or 3 years of the project. Right now, I mean, there are still lots of Germans, but I think that it's more like, I think that there's a couple of components we can think about. There's the fact that the project started there, but also like there's a different kind of mentality and way of looking at engineering that is there than maybe on other places. But like, for example, I started contributing in KDE way back, and I didn't have any ties to Germany other than, I don't know, the other contributors of the project. Oh wait, but our EV is an EV, and it's in Germany because it needs to be in a place. But for example, there's KDE Spain as well. And actually, KDE Spain we created because we wanted to do things here and like taxes, blah blah blah.
See others besides Germany and Spain?
We've had others. We had one in the US that didn't really work very well, and we have other groups that are not like as established as KDE Spain is. But
Okay, in which distribution is based the KDE Linux?
I really like this question because it super bothers me when people say KDE Linux is based on Arch Linux. So what KDE Linux is about is it's using something called systemd put, which is a system provided by systemd, which is a component that we use in many places of the Linux operating systems, or at least most of them anyway, to boot an image. An image that is like a big, like your whole operating system other than like the things that you will add on top from the outside. To create this image, we are using right now Arch Linux packages, so binaries. It's like things that Arch Linux creates, and all of the respect for the project, but I wouldn't say it's an Arch Linux based distro in that like you won't be using Pacman to update your things. It's a slightly different thing. So if I had to like say what is it based on, I would say rather probably more like systemd boot based than system sysx, I think they call it, rather than Arch Linux, because actually that's more of a like we had to pick one and it kind of made sense more than different thing. But like it's also something that could change very easily, right? Like, for example, we decided we want to do ARM devices. It could very much make sense to say, okay, we're going to use post-market OS binaries rather than Arch Linux, and that would work just as well. As far as I know, I don't know that there's any limitation. So we would have to see. But yeah, I guess that's a fair answer to that. And what you should be asking me right now is, okay, you don't have Pacman, how do you install shit on that thing, right?
Yeah, of course.
Good question. And then I say, well, we have some first way is to install Flatpak, and and Snap. You will be able to get a bunch of the different things you might want there. And there's some other tools that we're trying to develop to make sure that like the product is completely round. Talking about DistroBox, for example, is something that people are looking into. Maybe Toolbox, we're gonna have to see exactly what we need. But a little bit what we try to do with this kind of project is to make an operating system that can be properly QA'd, right? Like make sure that like I give you that thing, and when you get it, it's gonna work for you as well as it is for me, right? Which is something that on other systems hasn't been super easy to do.
And what is happening with KDE Neon?
KDE Neon is being developed right now still, because like there's probably thousands of people using it, so like we cannot pull the plug. I guess that eventually we'll be seeing some kind of transition, but it's not in place yet because KDE Linux has still some limitations that we consider a bit of a showstopper. So maybe we should create a showstopper wiki now for KDE Linux. But yeah, we will see. Well, he hasn't done any yet. So what is?
So first question would be what's the situation of Qt? Because I think Qt used to be independent, and it was bought by Nokia, and then now it was. So
you're going back in history, right?
Yeah. So I mean, because you're relying on that, but.
Yeah. So Qt was an independent consultancy, or not a consultancy. Like their product was Qt, the framework, and they were doing that for quite a while. Nokia bought them. Then Nokia was bought by Microsoft and was suicided, so they became free again. They were bought by a company called Digia, who was a consultancy. Qt became like too big a product for them, so it spawned into its own company right now. As far as I know, like they're a healthy company that has clients and is shipping products all over the world. The product seems to be healthy. there is this contract we have with them called the KDE Free Foundation, where if something went awry, we could address it, but we haven't had any indications that this would be necessary. So far so good as far as I know.
It's free, continues to be free, and the KDE Free Foundation will.
Yeah, the KDE Free Foundation makes sure that it remains free software, and yeah, it is free software
Which
right
is
now.
a worry of some people. That's what I wanted to highlight.
Thank you, Albert. Yeah.
Does some KDE stuff run on MetaQuest?
I don't know. I mean, I guess that KDE Connect Android application works for sure. I haven't really tried, but I don't know why it wouldn't. In that, it's running Android stuff. We don't have any big VR deployments. We can run actually our Wayland compositor on a VR headset, and as far as I know, it works. I even we had some what's it called? Well, a proof of concept that was developed by Valve back in 2019, and it was working. That was not on the MetaQuest; it was on the Valve Index. And that was working well. I don't know anyone doing any kind of serious development on VR, and much less on AR. But technically, we can render there because it's not all that different from a normal display.
Yeah, I was curious about how this is a largely decentralized project, right? Like everyone works on whatever their most interest, but how does KDE as an organization align people to have a kind of consistent user experience and I don't know, development guidelines, etc.?
So we do have a good number of guidelines. Then they are enforced through the contribution process, right? When you develop something, even if you are disconnected from me, you will send it to me. I will. Me as the maintainer, for example, I will tell you what I think, and in this process, we need to align into something that is good for the project that you're contributing to. And in general, my experience is also that people who want to contribute, they will generally try to follow the vision, the project that they're contributing to. You wouldn't contribute to a project that you don't really align with, because you will know that your contribution might be just lost in history. So I don't really think that is a big problem. We do have, for example, the concept of the maintainer of a project, for example, which, if there was some kind of doubt, we could say, okay, what do we do there? And we do have a design group that we also get to consult every now and then about different topics, and through that we also get to have this kind of more visual and UX vision rather than the technologist kind of vision, or the actual developer, which also is useful that way. Yeah. Question there?
Do you have any user statistics, or are you aware which are your most favorite apps when users, or if you answer this, is that you mentioned Valve, you work at families, spin-off. Is there other big organizations who are interested in being KDE somewhere?
Well, that's 3 questions in one. So by definition, as free software, we don't call home, right? We try to make sure that the freedom of people is respected. Our vision says, we do have ways for learning a little bit from our users that are all opt-in, or telemetry, which, by the way, if your users, remember to enable, because actually it gives us information about how your device is being used, and actually that your device is being used. Things if I am having a discussion with Albert about whether we should support a certain kind of displays, and I say, there's nobody using 800 by 600 displays. And then he has one, then he can look at the data and say, dude, there's 3 people. And then I will go, oh, 3 people, okay, then let's support it. So I think it's important to do these kind of things. The different distros will have numbers for you, you can look at there, but there's not a good picture. There is actually like better data on how many people are using it probably on the proprietary operating systems, because they will give you what's it called? Well, the telemetry from the store. So we do get some of that information.
KDE Connect has 1 million plus downloads and 500,000 active users, like what installed installation of the application.
Right, and that's for KDE Connect.
Which we only know from the Play Store. Like other people install from Android, we don't know, so it's probably a bit more than that. But
Yeah. I guess I answered that. Sorry?
So is there like any application you're just like hearsay aware this is our HANA application, like the biggest why people use that KDE?
So application specifically, probably the biggest one is Krita. Krita is an application that was started with a vision of, so it started trying to be Photoshop-ish kind of thing, but that never like picked, and there were like just better alternatives for it. So it rebranded itself into a tool that was designed for like people who like to paint and draw, and they went with it all the way, and they have tons of users on all of the operating systems, and it's a very successful application. Yeah, and it's still a KDE project. So.
And regarding companies like
Wait, companies. So there's many companies that can be using our product, and I actually know that several of them might be that they don't tell us, right? Like it's not part of our license that people will have to tell us. I know that Mercedes is using it because they hired me, kind of, right? But like I could not know it because they don't have to tell me. They have to tell me if they hire me for sure. But yeah, like using it as a product, there's like, this would be probably the big ones. There's always like smaller like kind of devices that go on Kickstarter, and like you see that they're using Plasma, right? And you can say that one, but like it's like a flow of like little products that fill the internet.
But you don't have a leader, like the top 10, whatever. You don't, if there's someone employing a KDE developer, you don't ask for like I'm also a business consultant and you see over.
So instead of shedding light on people who don't contribute, I'm gonna shed light on our patrons. Where's the garden? Here the garden. Our patrons are these. So thank you very much to Canonical, Google, SUSE, KidGroup, Blue Systems, Slimbook, etc., Focus, NoPG.com, and Ambition. Ambition is the Mercedes thing we were talking about. These 3 are hardware manufacturers, and they're shipping our software. Qt we already discussed. Blue Systems is was those that Valve is contracting to work on our software. Canonical and Google and SUSE, they're big players in the industry. You can talk to SUSE about SUSE with Matthias rather than me later on if you want. You can even do it in perfect German. Yeah, that's our business ecosystem. And whoever is not here doesn't matter. So if you want to matter in KDE, just become a patron. There was a question somewhere here, right?
Yeah. In the last Fedora, it seems that they put the KDE and the non-desktop a little bit the same level, not for the workstation.
I am not the best person to answer that, so I'm going to tell you what I've been told, which is, so there's a couple of like fairly active KDE people in their community, and actually like the KDE Spin, which I've collaborated with them on several occasions. Like they have a very nice, healthy team, and it shows. Like it has happened and it keeps happening in history. Like maybe 15 years ago, the Kubuntu team was super healthy, and actually like it looked and it shined through. And right now, I think that, or I guess that the Fedora KDE team is the one where like people who get excited join and participate. And like they got so excited that they started escalating within their own organization, and they have been shedding the light on the product and making sure that it's part of their like bigger PR picture. The implications of that, I'm not super sure. Sorry?
Do you see SUSE reintroducing KDE at the main desktop?
I am not a SUSE spokesperson. No, question guy, sorry.
No question, but you mentioned the car. And maybe if anybody
Oh, the car
is
thing.
interested, why not show off the car?
And now the car enters the room.
Well,
Bring the car.
Yeah.
Stop the video for that because they didn't sponsor it. For showing the video.
Okay, thank you for coming here. Let's do some beers and
Yeah,
let's see you in another meetup.
Yoo-hoo!